Well, welcome to Stepping Stones to Awareness. Andreas, you've come the whole way from Cyprus.
Yes.
And that's amazing. So, what brings you here? You've come to a wet Wiltshire, rainy day. What's you're interested in healing and
I'm interested in learning about this world as much as I can about it, and then maybe doing my small part in helping anyone who's willing to receive help or new information.
So I think if you look a little bit this way, I think that's good. Yeah, that's good. Why have you come to this conclusion? Why have you woken up, so to speak?
Well, there is this hidden feeling, maybe all of us have inside. Possibly what triggered me is a state of depression I went through for a few years, and then suddenly deciding to start loving myself. And at the point I decided that, a massive internal change happened. My body changed, my spirit changed, and I suddenly had the energy to learn and work in this world. And that took me on a journey, and I'm still on it.
But why did that happen? What made you change? What led to you? What did you change from to?
Well, I had that background of my mind that as long as your limits are set, and there's not much room for progress. So the main thing was to abandon any preset limits.
So explain, what sort of situation were you in to start with? What kind of background led to this change?
I come from no significant background. I have studied astrophysics in the United Kingdom.
Well, not everybody just studies astrophysics. You must have had an interest in the stars and this.
I'm interested in how the world operates. That was the main reason I chose physics. And then astrophysics, and with a twist. Space is interesting.
A lot of people would associate astrophysics with being a hard-nosed scientist, well grounded. None of these airy-fairy, namby-pamby things, sort of touchy-feely sort of philosophical things, are in that you would expect somebody to be interested in that. I mean, am I wrong about that, or what made you sort of go from astrophysics to the kind of energy stuff that you're talking about? What led you on that path?
This internal feeling of intuition. And then I started not trusting the information I was presented with. I started not trusting the government. A huge turning point was simply watching the footage of the 9/11 Twin Towers collapsing. For me that was, okay, there's something messed up with this world. Someone is pulling some strings. And assuming that's true, then these people must have power all over, must have power. They basically must control the system. If they had the power to pull such a scheme off, they have the power to do almost anything.
Why is it that you felt there was something wrong with the 9/11 thing? Because surely everybody else believes what the media tells them, and obviously it was done by these terrorists, and it was a very bad thing, and therefore we had to go into Iraq and bomb the hell out of them. Why did you somehow feel different?
Again, it's internal feeling of intuition, but from a physics perspective, watching controlled demolition and then watching the Twin Tower collapse, it's identical.
Have you heard of Dr. Judy Wood?
No, I haven't.
Okay. She's written a very important book about where did the towers go. and she explained it, the physics of that it fell at the same rate as a stone would have fallen in free fall.
Yes.
So it wasn't done by fire.
We didn't really know. But then again, the media, for example, misleading the public or leaving out small details like the fire in the tower, the other tower. Or that...
I think it's called Building 7, I'm not sure.
I forget.
Yeah.
But stuff like that. And you question it. You start questioning the authorities and maybe the government. And also I come from the small island of Cyprus. It's divided. It was invaded by the Turks in 1974. And the go-ahead was given by obviously the American and British governments. And just as we speak, files from back then are coming out proving all of these things. That the country was betrayed, that everyone knew about this before it happened. So according to each person and where he comes from, he can pick up these little things and realize that there's something wrong with the system. The system is supposed to be here to enable us and protect us. I feel that maybe it's here for exactly the opposite. And that was when I was maybe 16, 17, 18. Just before I went to study. Okay, and then one of the other major things that happened was I had an out-of-body experience. I was feeling extremely tired one day. This was back in the army days. I was 14 months in the Cypriot army. That's compulsory. Anyway, one night I was feeling extremely tired and I slept on my watchtower. And I remember gliding all over the neighborhood and observing buildings from a slight distance above the ground. And when I actually realized that I was floating in air, I got scared and I got pulled back towards my body and woke up. That was a major incident. I wasn't able to replicate it for a few years. What else? I'd like to provide a definition of what I believe the matrix can be defined as. Well, it's this set of rules and beliefs and fixed stories about how this world is and how this world operates. It's just fixed limits, not by us, by other people. As long as you follow them, you're in the matrix. As long as you follow mainstream knowledge that this whole thing, this unbelievable experience is a random accident, you will still be in the matrix. As long as you believe that you do not have the power to change anything, you'll still be in the matrix. A set of ideas and beliefs designed to restrict the human spirit. And everything can be, many of the things that are happening, I think these are directly linked in subjugating the human form.
Where does this idea of a matrix come from?
Well, obviously the movie Matrix, I guess, but it's this feeling that there's more to this world than meets the eye. I think that's where the real belief of the Matrix comes from. We all feel deep inside that there's something more to us, to people around us, to any supernatural experiences anyone can have, maybe lucid dreaming, weird synchronicities, visions.
But these are all terms which are pretty advanced for the ordinary kind of person. Where does you feel this experience is coming from? Where do you feel this inner feeling is coming from?
this is just a personal opinion, but we're all part of something that at its base it's a one single entity. We're all parts of it. And at any given point, according to any circumstances a man can put himself into, he might trigger something. From what I understand, extreme pain may cause you to rethink, maybe rethink everything that you thought is a fact or true. And as I mentioned at the beginning, for a few years I was clinically depressed. Like a psychiatrist or psychoanalyst would label me as clinically depressed. But I could not understand why this was happening.
Were you actually
Yes.
diagnosed as clinically depressed?
Yes.
And what does that actually mean? I mean, a lot of people are pretty depressed these days about lots of things, but you seem to have got a different path.
Well, the main problem was I had this voice at the back of my head, and any mistake I might do, it would amplify it. It would tell me that I'm worthless, as if a bad spirit was watching me and waiting for the chance to humiliate me. And it was this constant voice at the back of my head. I managed to get over it when a dear friend of mine, whom I love very much, came, looked me in the eyes and told, the love you give to yourselves, the love you give to others, give it to yourself, give it back to yourself. And I followed his advice. I decided to take a break and love myself.
But you were making those decisions. This is a big deal to go through those different steps.
Well, yes, but again, there was something driving me. This inner feeling that there's much more to this world than meets the eye. But that was the beginning. Then, approximately 1 year ago, on the 6th of February, I had an accident. And I remember at the time of the accident, I was laying on the ground in a lot of physical pain, and I was thinking about
what sort of accident was it?
It was a hit and run. I was on my bicycle coming from the convenience store, and a random car hit me from the back and kept on going. We never discovered who it was. But
what was the circumstances? I mean, was it a car park or
it was
a busy street? Was there any reason why this driver wouldn't have seen you?
It was night. I was not wearing a helmet, but I had a small light on my bicycle, and I was standing just below the street lamp as a precaution. But the car approached me quite quickly. I'm assuming he missed me. But I didn't really care. I still don't care about finding who he is. I think that's a turning point. Also, I was laying on the ground in so much physical pain, I kept thinking about wars, specifically the Second World War. I don't know why. Normandy.
Was there any kind of event from the Second World War that was happening now?
I thought in that area. Not from what I know of. But the main thing is I resonated with all the pain a soldier can feel on a beach in a war. And I remember deciding that what I have to do is make the pain of this world less. And because it was too much. And that is one of the reasons I'm here today. If there's any chance anyone will listen and feel a bit better, a bit more secure with this talk, then it's worth it.
So
Okay.
what led you to do astrophysics and that scientific path? Did you have a more logical mind in those days as a young man?
Well,
And
yes, I was following
led?
rules. As I said, I thought some of the things were set, like the Earth was created 5 billion years ago, and then the Big Bang, and then the evolution theory, and then that maybe 10 or 15,000 years ago the prehistoric man was nothing compared to us. And I had this as givens, and I was following a career or a path based on those things. But yes, I liked logic. I didn't like the idea of someone speaking rhetorically or philosophically. Now I realize that some things cannot be explained by logic. It's either people who have witnessed them and can share the experience for anyone to resonate with them, or people who by deduction guess that these things are real. I'm now on the first part because I've witnessed things that I can only call supernatural. I had to abandon this set logic, this set of rules that I carried with me my whole life.
So could you describe those experiences and the circumstances
Yes.
they happened in?
Well, my plan was to two parts. Increase my imagination by abandoning these limits to the point where new information about anything, no matter how controversial, would not frighten me. And then align my body through yoga or exercise. Build a healthy body. And the
Healthy mind, healthy body.
Yes, exactly. Coming back to the accident, I knew that if a man is in a lot of pain, he can't really think about other things. How can he? And on the same subject, I noticed that most people suffer chronic pains, and they don't really deal with them because they got used to them. But it's hindering you, and it's hindering your spirit. Some people, I found that they actually enjoy the weakness because it enables them not to do anything. Each person is different. But the whole thing started by me deciding to straighten my mind and straighten specifically my spinal cord. So I started standing upright and envisioning myself as a healthier being. And through repetition, I discovered a few of techniques that I think anyone can use to better themselves. The most important is to learn to stand straight, ground yourselves, so that you get this feeling of fluidity to your whole body. There's two types of forces, internal forces. There's a force that's light and crystallized, like for example contracting your hand. And there's this fluid, heavy force. Some people call it chi. Start feeling that force.
Where does this chi energy come from? Why chi?
Honestly, I do not know.
Is that a Chinese energy force or what?
I think
where did you find that?
I think it's
what
a
was your
universal
experience in finding it?
Okay. I was repeating these simple exercise, standing upright and relaxing my whole body, closing my eyes, and remaining as calm and still as possible, without any intention in my body. Just listening to the heart and silencing the internal voice in your head, so that no sound remains. It's just not even pictures. It's just a flow of energies and colors. And you keep on that. And I was doing it repeatedly every day. And at one point, I don't know why, I felt this energy rising from the base of my spine, coming out at the back of my head. And at that point, I suddenly realized it was a feeling as if I knew everything. I felt extremely warm, extreme emotional satisfaction. My mental clarity was exceptional. No fear, no worries. And another way to describe it was as if the earth became a person and tried to talk to me and came and hugged me. That's a good description. I felt that the earth was hugging me at that point. That's the main thing. An immense feeling of internal certainty and warmth, which I wanted to give to others. I knew that if everybody felt this way, or at least at one point in their lives felt this way, we'd all change our plans and tactics. Maybe we'd all cooperate a bit more. So two main things. Healthy diet and then a bit of exercise.
Now you're a Mediterranean. What sort of diet would you normally have in Mediterranean, and what did you change to, which you felt?
Well, I ate in the past. I consumed sugar, much more meat, and then processed foods. I tried to cut most of these things. But the more you eat, the more you want to eat. We think we need a lot of food and energy. No, I think the truth is that we have an internal energy, and all the food we stuff into our bodies is to silence it. Some people call it, another name is vril, this internal energy. It's something inside you.
Where did you hear that term?
To be honest, I do not remember. I do not remember right now.
You heard of the Vril Society?
No.
No. And what do you feel Vril is as opposed to Chi? Or are they the same?
Well, I think I got an idea just now, to be honest. If we call Chi the imaginative internal power of any human being, then Vril can be thought of as a component of it, a specific type of Chi, like Chi under intent. And Vril, I think, is the power of will to live and survive. I think that's what it is.
So, you mentioned something about the war, some kind of experience about the World War II?
Yes, at the time of the accident I was laying on the ground and I could only think about, I think, Normandy. It was a beach surrounded by soldiers. I kept envisioning soldiers hurt and injured, and thinking that I'm in so much pain but still have people around me, yet still the pain is so much. How would they feel alone, stranded in the beach in the middle of a fight? How must that feel? And in a way I could imagine how this intense pain I was feeling could be amplified 100 times. And I knew this was not good. I had to stop it and to make my part in making this pain less. And we all hear about stories about people hurting, but we can't really resonate with them. But maybe you can have an accident, maybe you are in a lot of pain, and then suddenly you start resonating. You become more compassionate. It's like a jolt. Suddenly remember that pain is real and comfort can be extremely real, and we all share this domain, this world.
So where do you feel that this is able to pull you up? Was this when you were pulling yourself out of depression?
No, that was 1.5 years later. After I got over depression, which happened instantaneously. I still cannot understand it. It's just the way.
Did that voice switch off, or what happened?
Yes, the voice switched off. I had an immense feeling of euphoria. I became healthier, more alert, as if everything changed.
What happened to make that happen?
A friend of mine, I wanted to change. I wanted to become better. That's the first thing. And then a friend of mine, I think, he shared his love with me. And from what I understand, the first thing that needs to happen is to have trust in others. Then you need to have the will to survive in this world. And then you build up towards your maybe final point, which is connecting.
Connecting with what?
Honestly, I do not know.
Who?
From a physics perspective, if I would try to explain it, we can act as a transmitter of energy in which we by ourselves choose our own frequency and where to transmit to according to our emotions. So basically you calm your spirit and focus on one specific emotion. And that specific frequency sort of becomes like your beacon. And you can tap into other frequencies. I think one of them is what other people call the earth spirit. It's as if someone is watching you. It's as if someone... it cannot be explained unless you felt it. You feel protected.
I mean, did this have any kind of a buzzing sensation or heat or pins and needles or anything like that?
Yes. There was a surge of energy throughout my whole body. What I forgot to mention, my hands, you stand upright, completely relaxed, and after a few minutes, depending, your hands start rising by themselves. I think it's your internal energy amplifying. Your hands literally start rising by themselves. You just keep them relaxed, but your hands keep on rising. I found that extremely amazing.
You know, being a physicist and that kind of thing, did this sort of have some kind of dilemma within your logic and your psyche? Or did it expand and grow from that?
Well, there is internal dilemma, not really. It was the most immense feeling of certainty I've ever felt. One of the most truthful moments in my life. But then again, you have the whole world and mainstream to saying that these are just fantasies, or these are just mental illnesses, or you're imagining things, or obviously it's not like that. We have scientists now saying it's not like that. Well, I think you should discard everything you know, and look within. That's what I did.
What techniques did you feel you were able to use to look within? Was it meditation or some kind?
Yes, it's a standing meditation technique. Basically, it's going to take time, especially if you never practice this. You keep your whole body relaxed so that your concentration channels into keeping your body still, as still as possible, while being completely relaxed. You push your lower spinal cords, which are an S shape for natural protection purposes, and you straighten them. You make the S shape, I shape. I think people have called this grounding. And
how do you ground? What's your means of grounding? Is there different techniques that
it's
people use
the
to
lower
ground?
body, and then the upper body, and the link, it's your pelvis and the lower and the lumbar cord. Those 5 last cords, which have a slight tilt. Through increased sensitivity, you can stimulate the deepest layers of the tendons and muscles, which are under normal circumstances locked as a way to protect yourself from strains, because these are the muscles in between the discs in your spinal cord. So you have to regain control of these muscles, so then electricity, energy throughout your body flows naturally. Otherwise, I don't know if it's even possible. And then you concentrate on becoming completely still. And I've realized that internal turmoil is due to fears or worries or past experiences. So you have to relieve them in that moment of peace and quiet. Relieve them. Learn what you have to learn from this, and then let go of them, as if you shine a light through it, and then make it a complete part of you. And the internal dialogue has to be stopped.
How do you do that? What sort of things are used for that?
Simple to say, not easy to do. You basically have to stop wanting anything. There are a few assumptions or axioms you have to follow. Like for example, everything is energy. Like for example, never be afraid about anything. Doesn't matter how bad you think you have it, or how bad someone else you think has it. We're all here to learn something. And remember, just like as you may be in pain right now, you'll feel better at one point. And the same goes with everyone. What else?
Where did this spirituality sort of come from? I mean, what were you a big fan of the New Age movements and
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
Did you meet any other beings, or did you have some kind of interface with a divine being of some kind?
I think so.
What gives you uncertainty about that?
No, I have witnessed other beings. Not in 3D space. Actually, I haven't even seen any beings with a human-like appearance. But I have seen, at times I was feeling intense, immense, emotional gratitude. I would just lie back with my hands like that, completely relaxed on the bed, and I would try to channel that emotion into an image. But again, the internal dialogue must not be there. It's as if Mr. Tim Rifat explained that, and from the quantum mechanical perspective, we are a wave of probability in which, as soon as you observe it, as soon as you make a conclusion out of it, you collapse it into something that's now defined. You shouldn't do that. You should always observe the observer. you are an observer, the culmination of the senses, with logic and emotions. You should create something else, like a different prime observer, observing all of these things. And you should always be in synchronous with that observer.
How do you do that?
Again, the technique is simple. Some people have called it how to create a body without the organs. If you close your eyes, you'll realize that at any given time there are memories in your head, there are stimuli from everywhere around you. You have to mix all of these things into a constantly running fluid, never crystallized, and keep on adding and adding and adding and adding, but never really observing. I found this can be done most easily if you give something to your head to do. Like, for example, now my concentration will be applied on how to stand completely still. And you keep on, and so you trick yourself, one part of yourself, into doing something, and then observing the whole process over and over and over and over and over again. I don't know what happens later on, but a few other benefits is...
What do you mean, what happens later on, and what else did Mr. Rifat explain, or did you learn? We're talking about Tim Rifat.
Yes. You have practical experiences, and then you have emotional content. The type of experience maybe can be regarded as a direction, and the emotional capacity that comes with it, the force, like a vector. So then you have to find ways of increasing your emotional acuity so that you can use that energy into a
How would
single
you
thought.
do that? How does a person do that?
I think the main thing is to enable the flow of energy, the flow of electricity in your body. Not think of anything, not want anything, or observe the flow. Like, for example, my father kisses me. It feels good and warm. It comes with an emotional signature. You concentrate on that. At the same time, you just concentrate on that, and never don't think of anything else. And then images can start appearing in your head. I've noticed a transition of colors from I don't know what to gold. And whenever I would close my eyes, I would see this gold warm color. And I assume that's my blank. And whatever happens, I can just feed in energy into that blank and watch it flow and crystallize into a different image. That's how I do it. I've noticed that if I want something out of personal interest, it doesn't really work. Oh yes. The theory is simple. Stop wanting anything. Realize everything is energy. And then you just might see who you really are.
Yeah.
I think that's the basic concept. One of the other major things that happened, I wish to get it out there. I went to to a chiropractor. And from my understanding, she hypnotized me and asked me what I really wanted. And I replied, under hypnosis, I was feeling extremely heavy. Speech was very difficult, and it was as if I couldn't tell anything but the truth. And asked me what I really wanted, and I replied I wanted the power to protect the ones I love, and then learn about this world. And she came behind me, started doing, I don't know, something with my hair. And I went through a transition of colors, like the rainbow colors, ending in gold. And after that gold, a massive eye appeared, as if an eye.
Like the Eye of Horus or something?
Yes, the eye. And she immediately, as soon as I saw it, she immediately stopped the procedure. And now that person, in a way, teaches me on how to become multidimensional, and how to harness these energies.
What do you mean by multidimensional? Your in terms of physics?
Okay. Well, assuming theories like quantum mechanics, or maybe chaos theory, or omega point theory are true, then everything is connected as a single grid. Then, from my understanding, maybe you can fold back a frequency into a sort of scalar wave, and then you tap into other frequencies outside of time. Maybe even observe parts of the future and feelings of deja.
How do you feel you can do that? Have you heard of Kirchhoff's mirrors?
No, but for example, in the Orphic writings, in the story about Orpheus, he was a guy who could, through mirrors, traverse back and forth in time. A similar concept appeared not that long ago in a Netflix film called Bandersnatch.
Right.
In which the protagonist could, in a lucid state, go through mirrors at a different point in time. What happened to me is that I would get glimpses of an experience that would happen in the future. It was as if I knew what was going to happen and then had a chance to alter it. Stuff like that. But at the same time, most days I feel overwhelmed and alone, and this can be extremely frightening. And I just want to have a normal life. And I can just stuff myself up with food, or have fun, or indulge in my desires, and most of these things go away. I think it's a choice. If you really want, I don't know what's the word, evolve or change or learn more about yourself, you have to let go of yourself.
You mentioned about standing and ways of standing and how that improves things. Could you describe what that is as such?
Well, yes. We're extremely flexible as beings, but through a sedentary lifestyle, or never actually stretching, never actually utilizing or going to utilize your body, you calcify it, and that is actual practical calcification.
Is this in the bones, the bone joints and things?
Yes.
Is that promoted, or is that something that happens by neglect of exercise or diet?
Yes, diet and neglect of exercise, and again, I think everything is connected. Your physical body, your emotional state, your diet, and then your thoughts. Your analytical, logical part, everything is connected. If a part is malfunctioning, then there's no balance.
Right.
It's an analog. You try to stand straight, and through increased sensitivity, imagination, and practice, you'll start feeling yourselves. That, for example, I have some pains in my rib. My left kidney is not working that well. My right lung, a part of my right lung, maybe doesn't get as much oxygen as I would like. But you have to be extremely sensitive. And the only way to do that is relax.
Well, thanks very much. I think we've got a little demo that we're going to do, and we'll just reset for that, and then you'll explain what that is, and we'll call it a day.
Yes. Well, this is a standing meditation tutorial. First of all, the definition of meditation, I think it's just mediation of energy, any energy. Your spinal cord has a natural S shape right here. What you need to do is bend knees slightly, ever so slightly, so that you can push those 5 lower spinal cords forward. Push your pelvis a bit forward, so that you align your spinal cord as a perfect eye. You basically utilize gravity and the natural reaction force to train the body. That's basically it. You close your eyes. And your purpose is to become as still and calm as possible. Assuming your body is relaxed, there will be a little force, and you won't be completely still. You have to concentrate on a single point, on a single focal point, internal. Sure to become completely still, like a statue. Then you enable the flow of internal energy throughout the body. And you are now in a position to experiment with internal energies. That's basically it. In time, assuming you're doing this right, your hands will start rising by themselves. This is good. This is your inner energy being amplified and being enabled by your body. If you haven't practiced this maybe ever, it's quite natural and will happen. You get lower back pains or maybe some knee pains. It doesn't matter, you keep at it. Maybe 20 minutes in the morning and maybe 20 minutes in the night. It'd be ideal not to have any food in your system, away from all electronic devices. It'd be most ideal to do this under a tree with the sun shining in your eyes, maybe in the early morning or late at night. And you keep at it. The other thing you do is silence your internal voice, so that all of your energy and intent go to becoming completely still and you start exploring your inner emotions and feelings, past memories, shocks or traumas. Go with them. Your point, your goal is to keep enabling the internal energy. Never crystallize the body, never tense it. You become a fluid, and then you merge that fluid with your memories and your fantasies and your imagination.